Okay, it's time for Bombastic Plastic.
Bombastic.
And this week, it's a Finnish death metal classic, Demigod's 1992 album, Slumber of Sullen Eyes.
Perhaps the quintessential Finnish death metal album outside of Demilich's Nespith, the short-lived five-piece lineup dropped one hellacious blueprint for brutality before dissipating into the ether for a decade. But this 12-song platter is a veritable tutorial in the freakishly horrifying heaviness of the region.
The band's chameleon-like use of textures is the key to their power. Slight angular changes to riffs, drums speeding up, bass-only segues, caustic two-guitar harmonies, even the occasional keyboard vamp all contribute to the quality and consistency of these songs. The overall impression is that of a diabolical shifting landmass, erupting and mutating via riff after riff of impeccable quality.
Drummer Seppo Tatia's use of double bass in processional segments builds tension in a way that many veteran bands never master. Tears of God is one of the better examples, dragging us through the muck with a slow creep that pulses and grows into a battering mid-pace, wandering through sojourns of eternal riff solos and back again, the monstrous growls of Essa Linden, the only constant. The sledgehammer might of Fear Obscures from Within deserves special mention. Almost the entire song an exercise in flattening speed and power. With the exception of the throbbing final minute, one of the best riffs on the album, Essa Lamenting, Depressions of the Soul, Emotions from the Darkest Mind, Supremacy, Pay Homage to the Grief, Mourning, the Waves of Despair.
I noticed, I listened to this the other day when we were running, and one of the, I would say definitely that the difference between this type of death metal and some of the other more popular types, the riffs do throb. They don't really crunch. It's very throbby. And also, there's no screamy side of the vocals. It's just the low end. Everything's low end. So there's not like that deicide where you have the high and the low. They were just brutal, brutal, brutal. So anyway, let's play some.
This is Fear Obscures from Within.
Demigod scraped the muck from the floor of their embittered souls and spat it all over us in the form of brutal death metal. Slumber is next level stuff that openly ridicules most of your favorite death metal records, and they're not even subtle about it either. I think they said some stuff about your sister too, but you didn't hear that from me. I hardly looked at those pictures she posted on the web. I assumed she just needed the cash or something.
One thing that's interesting to note, if you get a chance to look at the issues of the album, like this one, and Demilich versus the popularity of the Florida and Swedish death metal, most of them reissued multiple times throughout the 90s on multiple formats. Great as this album was, it was just a small independent release for years, until the early 2000s when the internet started discovering the club-footed beauty of stuff like this. Time Ghoul, etc.
Yeah, the first Amorphous album too is this style, and of course Demilich. But it really wasn't until 2006 that this album was reissued globally by Extreme Music, and that's the one I have. And since then, it's been reissued like a dozen times with colored vinyl, all kinds of stuff. So it's hard to believe because Finnish death metal is such an influence on modern bands like Nucleus and even Corpus Offal, which we'll get to in a few minutes. In the meantime, let's close it out with Tears of God.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.